Subscribe to Rajshri Food and click on the bell icon for more updates.
Well, I have a lot of personal breakfast favorites, but my most favorite of all is certainly a South Indian breakfast. I'm making onion uttapam with a very special tomato chutney. Hey guys, it's Varun Inamdar and welcome to Rajshri Food. Let's first begin with making the tomato chutney. For that, of course, we need to cook it, and for that, let's heat a wok, and in that, I'm adding in just a tablespoon of oil. Once the oil begins to heat, the first thing that goes in are some dried red chillies. Well, as a chef trainee in Bengaluru in a 5-star deluxe property, I remember waking up at 2-3 in the morning, going to the hotel and practicing making different types of chutneys. There I learned a variety of chutneys like curry leaf chutney, brinjal chutney, karela chutney, dudhi chutney, pumpkin chutney. Well, some of those very stunning looking chutneys with, of course, ingredients that you all find in your daily homes. And the next thing that goes in are some tomatoes. Of course, roughly chopped, red ripe tomatoes. Allow the tomatoes to just kind of become nice and soft. Remember a fact that do not use a lot of oil to begin with because this is a chutney that's going to be re-tempered. Let's add in some salt and cook this till this mixture is nice and soft. It's been somewhere around 7 minutes and the tomatoes have cooked perfectly well. Allow this to cool down completely because the next step is grinding this into a smooth paste. The mixture for our chutney has cooled down. The next step is to grind this. Well, I prefer a nice and smooth paste, but of course you can take your own call. With this, your onion and tomato chutney is kind of ready, but not as yet, because one of the main steps now is to give it a nice tempering. Let's use a tadka pan. And to this, I'm adding in oil. Allow this to heat nicely. For this, I'm using the first thing, which is urad dal. This is split and polished urad dal. Let it turn nice and golden in color. And once that just begins getting a color, let's add in mustard seeds. Once this begins to splutter, let's add in curry leaves. And immediately let's add in Asafoetida or Ghee. Time to add this in to the chutney. While doing this, just let a little stay aside. We'll use that for the final garnish. And give this a nice and even mix. Well, now that the tomato chutney is done and ready, let's move on to talking a little bit about the Uttapam batter. Well, I'm not showing you the batter again because I've shown you the dosa batter and the idli batter. For the uninitiated, of course, you can check the link of the dosa and the idli in the description box below. But all you need to do is take a cup full of rice, half the portion of urad dal, wash them individually, soak them at least for 2 to 3 hours. Then you need to grind the rice into a little coarse paste and the urad into a completely fine paste. You mix the two together, keep them to ferment overnight. The next morning, all you get is a batter which is well fermented like this. To this now, let's add in some salt. Let's whip this well. Well, generally for an uttapam batter, you may decide to add in little water, but that is just in case if you require. But otherwise, for uttapam, generally the batter is nice and thick, just like that of an idli. The batter needs to be nice and thick and of dropping consistency like this. For this, you need to heat a pan. If you're using a non-stick pan, of course, it does not require tempering. But if you're using an iron pan, it requires a little bit of expertise and tempering of the pan. Once the pan heats up, the first thing that goes in is some ghee. Spread this well. All you need to take is a spoonful or a ladleful of batter. Drop it, just spread it lightly and top it up with nice and finely chopped onions. I like my uttapam a little spicy, so I'm adding in green chilies, but again, that's completely optional. To this, I'm just adding in a touch of salt because I like a little salt on the onions. But remember a fact that Uttapam already has salt, just little, not too much. The next step is to cover this and allow this to cook at least for 40 to 45 seconds on medium flame. While the Uttapam is getting cooked, you will notice that there is a trail of steam that is generating, and this is the steam that will help in cooking the Uttapam through and through. Let's check it. And carefully, let's give this a flip. One final flip, and with this, your onion Uttapam is done and ready. Let's serve this, and like I said, this goes amazingly well with a nice and chilled onion and tomato chutney, which is also ready. Do not forget to like and share the video and subscribe to Rajshri Food, and more importantly, make this for your family and friends and have a happy breakfast.